Welcome everyone to AMC Versus, the movie issue debate show where we take a issue that's hotly contested in the world of movies and we assign two advocates to argue for or against it. Be reminded that we assign these positions, they don't choose them, so they may or may not actually agree with what they're saying. First up, we have the editor-in-chief of AMC Movie News. To my right, John Campea.
Hello, everybody.
And to my left, we have director of The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened, Jon Schnepp. Thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
And today's topic is, was Jesse Eisenberg the right choice in casting for Lex Luthor in The Man of Steel 2? And we first have John Campea is going to be arguing against it. We have Schnepp, he's going to be arguing for it. And we flipped a coin earlier to decide who is going to go first, and the first person up is John. So, John, your time starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Your Honor, my esteemed colleague, Mr. Jon Schnepp, I am going to lay out the case for you why, undisputably, the Jesse Eisenberg casting as Lex Luthor is one of the stupidest things we've seen since Jessica Alba cast in the Fantastic Four. Now, let's start with this. When asking a question of, is this the right choice, you must take into consideration what were the other options, because that's what you're choosing from. And I want to put this before you. Names such as Jason Isaacs, Michael C. Hall, Bryan Cranston, Mark Strong, John Hamm, hell, John Malkovich, for heaven's sakes, Bruce Willis, I don't care. Any one of these guys would have been a superior choice to a casting like a Jesse Eisenberg. There's a reason that names like these have been floating around and rumored about, even like a Joaquin Phoenix would have been the right choice. And when you look at this collage of possible options to play a role like Lex Luthor, there's just no doubt Jesse Eisenberg's name sinks to the very bottom of the pile. Now, Jesse Eisenberg is absolutely the right age. I have no problem with his age. He's 30 years old. But there's also no denying he looks like he's 12. You're going to have a little prepubescent-looking dude running around claiming to be, I'm the big master villain of the world, that nobody is going to buy. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, do not be beguiled and fooled by my esteemed competitor, Jon Schnepp, in this thing at all. He's going to try to throw up some smoke and mirrors with theoretical arguments. He's going to say things like, oh, they must have seen something in the casting. Yeah, well, they would have seen something in the Jessica Alba casting, too, and look how that turned out.
Objection, objection.
Objection.
He keeps referring to a movie that's already come out with the Fantastic Four, and this is all conjecture, so I say that you can't use a real movie.
I can't use facts?
No, absolutely not.
I'm actually going to have to deny your objection, Jon Schnepp. It is pertinent to refer to previous movies. All right. Ready and begin.
Now, a guy like Lex Luthor is a very complex character who can have a wide range of emotions and emotional depth. He can go from very charming and suave to being one of the most incredible outraged monsters with huge bursts of emotion. What has Jesse Eisenberg ever showed us what he can do? He talks like this in every single movie. I'm going to go down and get a taco. I'm going to have sex with a beautiful girl now. Everything's the same thing. The only emotional range this dude has ever showed us was speaking in the same voice in The Social Network, and he furrowed his eyebrows a bit. He went from talking like this, I'm perfectly happy and having a good time, to doing this. Now I'm really angry and now I'm turning against you. That's his emotional range. There's absolutely nothing there. Now, my esteemed colleague, Jon Schnepp, may bring up the argument, well, let's wait and see. Let's see what he can do. Let's give it a chance. That's a great theoretical thing to say, but it's an absolutely pointless and baseless, keep that in word, saying, well, let's just see the great unknown. That is a baseless argument.
Objection.
All right.
I think Jesse Eisenberg has proven this. It's not baseless. He was Oscar nominated, ladies and gentlemen, for a role that John Campea was just ripping on. It was called The Social Network, which was kind of like a baby Lex Luthor in training.
I'm going to have to sustain your objection.
Outrageous. Does my time start again?
It starts now. You have 30 seconds.
So, well, maybe he'll be able to do it. He's going to argue maybe he can see it. Yeah, well, maybe Gal Gadot actually has a real invisible jet parked somewhere. Jesse Eisenberg was, and will be the absolute wrong choice. There is nothing to back up this decision. There's nothing to tangibly back up his choice as Lex Luthor, and I will prove it continually going through this debate. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for that passionate argument there, John. Now we're going to start the time for Schnepp. For Jesse Eisenberg, 3 minutes starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, Jon Campea, that was a very well-stated argument that your case is pretty strong. Unfortunately, my case is just a little bit stronger. Jesse Eisenberg started out several years ago doing a film called Roger Dodger, and he was with Campbell Scott, who's went on to be in Spider-Man. So he's already been prepped to be a kind of a superhero, supervillain. Everyone's getting into this game. So why I think Jesse Eisenberg is actually a good call for Lex Luthor, there's a couple of reasons. I would go straight to The Social Network for my main reason. And I was kind of half joking when I said he was kind of like a baby Lex Luthor in training, because I think Jon Campea mentioned a lot of incredible actors, John Malkovich, a lot of Bryan Cranston. All these guys are, without a doubt, incredible actors. They also happen to be in their 40s and 50s and 60s. So I think what Zack Snyder and David Goyer were doing in the casting of Jesse Eisenberg...
Objection, Your Honor.
All right, time stops.
My esteemed colleague, Mr. Schnepp, is simply bringing up an argument of why it's okay that the movie is going with a younger Lex Luthor, but that in and of itself does not speak to why they would have picked Jesse Eisenberg as the younger Lex Luthor. He's making the wrong argument.
I didn't get to finish my statement before he objected.
I'm going to have to overrule your objection. I think we still haven't heard enough from Schnepp to see how he ties that in.
All right.
And time restarts now.
Before I was let's say, interrupted by Jon Campea with my incredible argument that I was about to finish. So The Social Network, a young Lex Luthor in training, I think that's why Jesse Eisenberg was picked, because of Zack Snyder and David Goyer's role that they're having Lex Luthor play. I mean, obviously this is all conjecture, but because of the casting, we have to go with the fact that Jesse Eisenberg is roughly the same age as Henry Cavill. He's a few months younger. So they're going with somebody who's like a young, probably rich, very smart businessman, and I think that's kind of the role that they're going with, is he can't stand being number two. So with someone like Jesse Eisenberg, The Social Network, just taking that performance that he played as the Mark Zuckerberg, the ruler of Facebook, and how he commanded everyone, especially in those courtroom scenes, with this kind of sneering and very powerful but kind of gross demeanor. I think that's what intrigued them to hire Jesse Eisenberg over even like Joaquin Phoenix passing on the role. He was also offered the role, but he passed. Jesse Eisenberg was right there under him. So I think they saw something in him that within this new version of Superman and Lex Luthor, that's why they cast him. That's why they didn't go for the older Lex Luthor. They want a younger Lex Luthor.
30 seconds.
That's all I've got to say.
90 seconds for your rebuttal.
Great.
Starts now.
Once again, just to reiterate the objection I have, yes, Schnepp has just made a great defense about why they wanted to go with a younger Lex Luthor. And really, that's fine and all. But it still doesn't speak to why Jesse Eisenberg. Now, my esteemed colleague wants to continuously go back to The Social Network, in which Jesse Eisenberg did get an Academy Award nomination. But I'm going to stand here and tell you it is one of the most undeserved Academy Award nominations in the past 10 to 15 years. And that's no fault of his own, I've always said this. But Jesse Eisenberg was given the role of Mark Zuckerberg, who, in the screenplay, was a one-note character. A one-note character.
Objection. That's opinion. I think he was a multi-noted character. That's just Jon Campea's one-note opinion about a very great role that a lot of Academy members thought was fantastic. In fact, he was Oscar nominated. Let's just bring that up one more time. Oscar nominated Jesse Eisenberg is now playing Lex Luthor.
Your Honor, I have to be allowed to finish the argument.
Well, I'm going to have to overrule because, John, or Schnepp, you have already used your 2 objections.
Did I?
Yes, you have used it twice, and so your objection...
Oh, wow.
I think that's an automatic forfeit.
No.
If I'm not mistaken.
No.
No, but the jury will disregard
the objection.
The objection. So let's, you have 50 seconds starting now.
As I kind of mimicked before in my own little bad impersonation way, everything that Mark Zuckerberg, the character, had to do in that movie played by Jesse Eisenberg was basically talking like this. And when he's in the courtroom, it's just, none of you guys are capable of doing what if anybody here could have made Facebook, they would have. It's all the same one note. from start to finish, and that's not his fault. I'm not saying that's his fault. That's what he was told to play, but that's what he was given. And that is his Academy Award nominated performance. A character like Lex Luthor is emotionally vast, from rage to passion, all the way down to charm and simplicity, and never has Jesse Eisenberg given us anything close to coming across. For heaven's sakes, even in a sitcom like Modern Family, he played the same bloody guy. They want to believe that you, the jury, are too stupid to see this, but I know that you're not. Thank you.
All right. You have 90 seconds for your rebuttal, and John, I remind you have one objection left.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Starting now.
So let's go back a little bit to that Oscar-nominated role in The Social Network, and that John Campea keeps hammering that it's a one-note performance from Jesse Eisenberg. I don't know if you saw the same movie that he saw. I saw a different film. I saw a film with a lot of emotional depth, a lot of not only just courtroom drama and him demanding things from, like, hey, I own Facebook, and being betrayed and being the betrayer. There was a lot of levels in that performance, and that's what put him on the map. That didn't just put him on the map as like some kind of weird robot. It's easy to mimic someone if they get used to like a catchphrase or something like, I'm a robot. I don't think that's Jesse Eisenberg. I think him as Lex Luthor is going to be a formidable performance. I mean, we haven't seen it yet, but I think the casting of Jesse Eisenberg, if you weigh it out with all the other people that they have, plus we don't know what the script's going to be yet, so it's all going to be revealed soon, I guess in 2 years. But that's why I'm for Jesse Eisenberg. I think it's a really intriguing and smart and definitely strange casting when you first heard it, but the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I can't wait to see what they're going to do with it.
All right, you came in under your time. So before we get to our closing statements, I have a couple questions, one for each of you. Let's start off with John. Can you further discuss your argument against Jesse Eisenberg as the one-note character, considering he was Oscar nominated? I mean, the Oscar nomination is not some small thing.
Not at all.
It is, it has much, much weight. So are you questioning the validity of the Oscar nomination and the Oscar nomination process, which I know that you heavily are very behind?
Yeah. No, is it a criticism of the Oscar nomination process? No, because you have to see a lot more big problems. But I believe that Jesse Eisenberg's nomination for his Best Lead Actor in that particular film was more of a reward of the film overall. And it was a great film. And Jesse Eisenberg, I fully admit, played that character exactly the way the director wanted it played. However, it's like asking an American gymnast, we're in Olympic time right now. It's like asking a figure skater, right? Part of the scoring in figure skating is degree of difficulty. So a skater can go out there and try a triple spin and fall down, but then do another triple spin. But because the degree of difficulty was so high, you get certain points. Another skater can just go out there and skate in a circle, and skate perfectly in a circle. It's the most perfect circle you've ever seen skated in, but there was no difficulty to it, and therefore his score will actually come in lower than the guy who had a simple fall. I propose to you, Your Honor, that that is the situation we have right here with Jesse Eisenberg in The Social Network. He performed it perfectly well. He skated that circle beautifully, but it was just a circle. It wasn't a triple spin.
All right. So that was a good argument. Schnepp, I have a question for you. So even though Jesse Eisenberg is roughly the same age as Henry Cavill,
right,
who's playing Superman, he looks much, much younger. Henry Cavill looks much older than he is. Jesse Eisenberg looks much, much younger.
Yes.
How is that going to play out in Man of Steel 2 when they look so vastly, and even in my opinion, vastly different in age?
Right, and then you can go further and say when they shave him, he's going to look like a baby. Because he's already young looking, to shave his head and he's going to look like a baby. Well, I think how they're going to play that out is they're going to take that opportunity and show, yeah, he is a lot younger, probably in the script. He is playing a Lex Luthor who's probably 25, who's inherited maybe a little bit of an empire from his dad, but also through his own intellect, been able to make that a force of nature in Metropolis. He's #1, and he's taken over the entire situation. And Superman stands in his way, and he hates being #2. I think that's going to play a large part into it, and to have that kind of like selfish, ruthless, like that thing that he nailed in The Social Network. I mean, you got to remember, like when we first heard about the Facebook movie, it was sort of like, what? Why am I going to go see a movie about that? It seems boring. he actually brought a lot of levels to it and made it a very exciting film, as well as obviously Sorkin and David Fincher. I mean, all those things came together to make an actually really interesting and great film, and Eisenberg was a big part of that. So I think them casting him to have that kind of an attitude is going to age him up just in the evil aspect alone.
Okay, interesting points. So now we go to our closing statements, starting with John. Your time starts now.
We understand that we have a younger Lex Luthor in this film. That's what they're going for, there's no question. But one of the things that we don't want is a Smallville the movie. We don't want a little teenager running around, I've got an inherited $5 billion, this is great. Now, Jon Schnepp keeps referring back to one film. One performance that he's ever given, a performance which was completely emotionally stunted. Lex Luthor is a character that has a wide range of emotions, not who just comes across like this in every single thing he says. Whether he's being chased by zombies or whether he's pardon me, in a TV sitcom or whether he's creating the world's biggest social network. It's always the same guy. We need more range. When you simply sit back and look at the options that were available, when you sit back and actually look at the work the actor has already done, and all you're left with is, maybe it'll work. Well, maybe a fried piece of fish could play Lex Luthor. You never know until we give it a shot.
10 seconds.
And that is no valid argument. Clearly, Jesse Eisenberg was the wrong choice to play Lex Luthor.
Jon Schnepp, your closing arguments, 60 seconds starts now.
My closing arguments, I'm going to bring up several other films aside from The Social Network. I'm going to bring up The Squid and the Whale. You'll see Jesse Eisenberg perform as a kid dealing with his parents' divorce. Way more than one note. You're going to see in the next couple months, he plays the double. He plays 2 different roles. Wait till you see the trailer for that. You could look at a bunch of different films.
Objection, Your Honor.
Okay.
All right, stop.
Wait until you see the trailer for that. Is my esteemed opponent here actually making an argument based on wait till you see the trailer?
I've heard about it from Sundance, and a lot of
Your
great
Honor,
critics have said it's amazing. So
I'm going to have to sustain John's objection.
All right, throw that one out.
Because future speculation, we can't really judge on that.
Let's chuck that one. Let me go to Zombieland, something you guys probably saw, and not a one-note performance from Jesse Eisenberg. He's all levels from being chased by zombies. He proved a lot in that one movie, and that's what brought him to get The Social Network, which he was Oscar nominated for, and that then brought him to become Lex Luthor. I think he's going to be a great Lex Luthor, and I'm all for it.
All right, guys, so the arguments have been presented, and it's up to you guys to vote in our online poll. I'm going to render my verdict, which accounts for 5%, but it's only 5% of the vote, and you guys can vote and make sure that whatever side that whoever you thought made the better argument, not necessarily which side you take personally, but who made the better argument. So both of you presented excellent arguments for both for and against. I think it's very close, but I will be siding with John Campea and against Jesse Eisenberg.
Justice has been done. Justice has been served today.
All right, guys. Thank you to both participants, and make sure to stay tuned and watch our Friday show of AMC Movie Talk, where we're going to be announcing the winners.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.